In January 2013, we saw the very first Sony Xperia Z smartphone. On the surface, it didn't look that different to other devices in the market. However, a glance at the specifications and you knew it would be a game changer. Innovation can be an overused word in mobile, yet Sony made it mean something, introducing worthwhile features whilst iterating on what already worked well. It's this philosophy which has seen the Z range expand and develop quickly over the past 2 years. At the time, the original Z's raw specification was top of the range, something that continues today. In fact, the 5-inch Full HD screen, 2GB of RAM and 1.5 GHz quad-core processor and LTE support still don't look out of place on moderately priced modern handsets. Where Sony innovated though were with extra flourishes. A water and dust resistant IP55 and 57 rating made this the first modern phone didn't have to worry about getting wet. We even took our test Z down to a sandy Bournemouth beach in the middle of winter and it came back looking and performing the same as when it left. The IP rating came by sealing the handset and putting ingress ports behind sealed covers. To avoid opening the USB port several times, an optional magnetic charging dock with contact charging was also provided. These seemingly simple design decisions have been kept throughout the Z range, a testament to their success. Later in 2013 we were treated to the Xperia Z1. This marked the first entry in Sony's fast and iterative approach to the Z releases. A fair amount changed between the two phones, as well as some issues fed back to Sony being addressed. For many, the Z1 may not have been an upgrade worthy of changing from the first Z, given the short release cycle. However, it was a definite improvement that could capture the eye of those who either weren't sold first time around, or perhaps missed the Z as a part of their natural upgrade cycle. In the Z1 we saw Sony capitalise on a new 2.2 GHz quad-core processor from Qualcomm, showing their commitment to keeping up to date with the bleeding edge of mobile tech. The Android OS was suitably upgraded too, as well as getting the IP rating up to 58, continuous submersion in water for up to 30 minutes. The major improvement and innovation with the Z1, however, was the introduction of an all-new 20.7 megapixel camera sensor developed in-house by Sony. The first of its kind, this allowed for incredible pictures. Sony's camera application was also overhauled with various features to satisfy the more particular amateur photographer. Sony even trialled some standalone bridge-style remote controllable lenses that could be clipped onto the phones, a unique accessory that again pushed the boundaries of what could be done with a smartphone. A few months after the Z1, we saw the Z1 Compact. Many smartphone manufacturers had miniaturized their flagship devices before, although this inevitably resulted in severely stripped-down specifications. Sony challenged the status quo once again. The Z1 Compact kept the big specs of its big brother, processor, memory, camera, whilst only reducing the screen size and weight. For many, this was the perfect marriage of power, performance and portability. Now, a full year after the original Z, the Z2 launched. Again, quite a subtle, iterative move on the Z1, this new Xperia was actually significantly advanced over the first Z in the range, and therefore aimed at those looking to move on after a year's use. By this time, Sony had started to soften the angular edges of their design to make the Z easier to hold, as well as staying ahead of the curve with the freshest processing tech, an incrementally larger screen, and now 3GB of RAM. On paper, the Z2 was the most powerful phone on the market at release, and continued to offer the best power-to-price ratio for many months to come. Also during the Z2's lifespan, we saw the rise of connected living. Sony launched a number of additional products such as the smartband. With Sony's wide ecosystem of devices, the Z2, as well as phones coming before and after it, were poised to be the centre point of modern living, information and content delivery. Finally, we approached the most recent devices in the Xperia Z line, the Z3 and the Z3 Compact. With these two phones, Sony managed a simultaneous release time and was able to harmonise their range. The Z3 was technically a tiny update on the Z2, perhaps the smallest improvement to date, although the physical design was completely overhauled. The body was a 4mm thinner and moved to an all-metal casing, where previous Zs had always had glass or plastic on the Z1 Compact. The appearance of the Z3 was modernised and machined whilst retaining the design language of the Z range, with port covers and the magnetic charging port, plus the thoroughly chamfered and rounded edges improved comfort. The Z3 Compact, like the Z1 Compact before it, was billed as the same but smaller. Staying true to their subversive play almost a year previously, Sony kept the top-end processor, 20.7 megapixel camera and full feature set of the full-size model, whilst cutting down on size and materials to deliver an incredibly good value for money phone. Both the Z3 phones also urged users further into Sony's wider entertainment ecosystem. Where Sony Music and movies had featured heavily on mobile previously with trials, offers and giveaways, the Z3 handsets were now also showing off improved PlayStation integration with remote access features. Sony's story is more than one of their smartphones, although the quick development of the Z range shows how important these portable computers are to their overall strategy. As a hardware manufacturer, entertainment publisher and content producer, Sony has a whole lot to do. The improvement of the Z range is indicative of a company aware of changing trends and future possibilities. They ride the wave of new consumer technologies such as remote access to other core products, personal tracking and raw performance, whilst needing to respond quickly to consumer demand and feedback, which includes their introduction of fully featured, smaller and more affordable devices.